You may have heard me talk about how becoming a consultant was the best career decision I ever made, but maybe you are wondering what my day-to-day looks like. I get a lot of questions about how I do as much as I do and how I juggle so many clients and projects one at a time. I've got another episode teed up that's talking just about that and how I stay so productive. But today I thought I'd walk you through a typical day. So my days usually start very slow. I'm a big sleeper. I need my 8 hours and I love lounging in bed. I do not subscribe to the wake up at 5 a.m. business. That is just not for me. I start the day nice and slow. I listen to NPR's Up First podcast to catch up on the news of the day while I am still relaxing in bed. And then I scroll the news to see what else is going on. Sometimes I do some online shopping, and rarely I do a little bit of social media scrolling. More and more, I try to avoid that, to be honest with you. Luckily, I have teen girls, so I don't have to rush around after them. They take care of themselves, and I have a fantastic husband who's an early riser, so I have always had this luxury. Eventually, I get up and I make a cup of tea, ideally chai, it's my favorite, and I head into my office. This is where I am now, which I love. It's full of bright, natural light. I never turn on the lights unless it's raining, rare for us in Dallas here. Or if it's nighttime, that natural light, it really energizes me. I really love to have that natural light. The first thing I do is usually to check in on my email. My email is filled with all kinds of stuff. I have clients reaching out about ongoing projects. I have prospective clients. I have people who want to spend time with me for other reasons like reconnecting or mentorship or want to give or get advice. And then I have a bunch of emails for all my side projects, the podcast, the course, my work for an accelerator. And I check my personal email. I often get emails from teachers and principals, the PTA, the band, and I get all caught up on everything. It probably takes me 30 minutes to an hour to clean out that morning's and the prior afternoon or evening's emails. And I also do a few tasks here and there. I pay a bill, I add some things to my Amazon or Target cart. Probably not that different than what you do with your morning. That is usually followed by a flurry of back-to-back meetings. I'm in a lot of meetings. Those meetings can be anything from meeting with a new client, prospective client, pitching a proposal, discussing an active project, which might include reviewing a research questionnaire or presenting out a recommendations deck or meeting with their cross-functional team to discuss a new product. This week in particular, I worked on 2 new proposals. I led a 3-hour client workshop. I prepped 2 research questionnaires. I spent probably about 5 hours this week with some mentees, which is a little higher than normal, but I had a special project going on this week with them. Eventually, I grabbed some lunch. There is the rare day, maybe 10 or 15% of my time that I am so busy, I don't even get to eat lunch. But if I have the time, I make something awesome. I love to cook. And now that my husband is working remotely, we try to eat together when we can. It's not as often as I'd like sometimes because our schedule don't always match up, but we do our best. If it's a late lunch, hitting around 1:30 or 2, I often need to take a little rest on the couch before jumping back to it. It usually means I've been in back-to-back meetings since 9 and I need to crash for a little bit. And then at the end of the day, I like to check if there's anything outstanding and wrap up before I head out to pick up my daughter at school around 4 o'clock. When I'm back, I probably will do another hour or so of work. That's pretty typical before I start making dinner. And then it's family time when I make dinner, whether that's with all of us, all 4 of us, or just my husband and I. So this is what my days look like on average, but the truth is that my days can be pretty varied. This has a lot to do with the kind of work that I do and all of the stuff that I'm involved in. Generally speaking, my days are really dynamic. I move from client to project to client to project, back and forth all day long. I'm almost never talking or thinking about the same project or even same client back to back in a meeting, except for workshop days, of course. But I really love this about my day. I like to be kept on my toes and having exposure to so many things on a daily basis. And don't get me wrong, there are days when I'm completely shot and I lose my thread in conversation, but that's not frequent. And it's usually because I didn't get my 8 hours of sleep or 9 hours, depending on the day. I don't usually work Friday evenings or Saturdays, maybe 4 to 6 times a year, I might wind up doing a Friday night or a Saturday. Those days are really just mine. Friday starting around 3 until Sunday morning. And I do work about 50% of Sundays. I love putting a few hours then to clear emails, to make progress on some big projects and more stuff. It's a great focus time for me before I regroup with my family for the rest of the weekend, which often involves doing my daughter's hair, both of their hair on Sundays. I also have a lot of up and downs throughout the year. I know the springtime is always busy, really starting around March. In my industry, in consumer packaged goods, this is when brands start getting really serious about the project they've been planning for the year. They have innovation work, or they need a workshop to align some teams around a common goal, or they're kicking off research and prep for some new marketing work stream or marketing project. Then there's the fall, and this inevitably is a big work window because people are realizing that the year's closing in. There are often budgets to be spent, a project to get completed that hasn't been completed yet, new questions to be answered before the year is over. So I'm usually really, really busy through the holidays. About 40% of my work comes in September to early December. Again, of course, this is unique to my industry and the work that I do. So accordingly, I plan my time off. I usually take a bunch of time in the summer when the girls are free. This year and last year, I finally got to my goal of taking a whole month out of the country with a little bit of work, just keeping things moving along, but mostly off. I would have done it sooner, but remote work was not an option for my husband. Now it is, and I'm not looking back. And I take a full 3 weeks of time off in the holiday season, the Friday before Christmas week, and straight through until the girls get back to school sometime between the 3rd and the 7th of January. It varies by year. Often I use this time to catch up on my pet projects like my podcast, and I do a lot around the house and of course a lot of family time. You might also be curious what it's like to be a consultant versus an employee when talking to a client, or in your case, to your employer. As an employee, you are part of the team. You know your responsibilities, and generally you're invested in whatever it is that's happening, because ultimately it will affect you. What I love about being a consultant is that the work stays behind. I rarely carry any stress with me from the workday into my personal time. And don't get me wrong, I'm highly invested in the results that I provide and the success of my clients, but I know that I can only do what is in my control. And I deliver to the greatest level of excellence possible. And after that, there's not much more on me. So I can sleep easy at night. The work does not follow me, and clients treat me accordingly. As an employee, you're rarely asked if you're able to or willing to do something. It's usually just assigned. And often you feel compelled to do this work because it's quote unquote your company. You're part of the team. You feel some loyalty to get this done, at least for most of you anyway. That doesn't exist as a consultant. I really try to help my clients get things done in their timelines and make sure that they get from me what they want. But again, I can only control what I provide, and that takes a lot of pressure off of me. And the clients don't expect anything more than that. This consultant-client relationship is much more black and white than with an employee, and that makes it easier for me to know when I've delivered and when I haven't. That's not exactly a specific thing about my day, but I think it helps you to understand how the rest of my time is truly my time, because nothing stays with me. I can be invested in the moment and then outside of work, go without any worry. And that pretty much sums up everything. I can truly say my time is 100% mine. I decide when, how, who. Sometimes I do things I don't really feel like doing right at the moment, but I'm an adult and I want to do good work. And I want clients to come back, but it's all still my decision and under my control. I rarely feel like I don't have enough time to do what I want. Sometimes I feel like I have too many ideas to execute and not enough time, but generally I do what I want and I show up for what I want. And I really love that. And that's truly what consulting has given me. So if you're considering consulting and want to know if it's the right fit for you, check out our quiz at theclaritywizard.com/quiz. I hope this helps.